Welcome to the first episode of Train and Grow Rich. Alright, this is our video series where we share knowledge snippets for our viewers, especially the training community, to understand how they can increase their revenue as well as impact over a period of time. So, generally, we've all heard of this concept B2B and B2C. Now, trainers generally refer to these very two concepts as trainings with corporates and open workshop trainings. Alright, it's one and the same. So, what is a B2B? A B2B is basically a business to business, wherein trainers conduct trainings for corporate employees, which means the person who's engaging you and paying for your training is different from the consumer, that is the participants of your training. And in B2C, that is your open workshops, generally the consumer and the buyer are one and the same. Unless, of course, where you see parents who are paying for their children, which means the children are dependent on them. But otherwise, this is the broad category of a B2B and a B2C. So B2B is you deal with the HR or the decision maker, maybe the owner also for that matter. So HR or L&D, and B2C, it's the open workshop. You would be dealing with your clients directly. So let's understand a little deeper what exactly is B2B and how, as trainers, we can make a good impact as well as revenue in this segment. In the next video, we will talk about how B2C can be worked upon. All right. So first of all, why do you find, and this is the biggest challenge, why do you find a lot of variance in the pay of a B2B segment trainer? Now, it's accepted that it's one of the safer modes of conducting training, wherein you don't really have to individually get all your participants together. All you need to do is connect with one person, one representative of the organization, and once your training is confirmed, you have your batch of 20-25 participants all sitting in front of you. Okay. Now, the biggest reason for a discrepancy or a variance in the pay is frankly not about the years of experience. We've seen that because on one hand, we've had trainers with maybe just about 10 years of experience, 10 to 15 years, who are getting much higher than trainers who are perhaps having nearly 25-30 years of work experience. So it clearly goes to show that experience is not a criteria for earning money in corporates. What is it that corporates are actually looking for? Corporates need you to solve their problem. Now, this is what we've been telling and encouraging trainers to do right from the beginning. It's no longer about your knowledge or the theory. It is more about the application of that same concept to the lives of your participants. Alright. So, in short, your depth, your understanding of the topic and its application in the lives of the audience will help you command your price. Does that make things clear? So now let's move to the next question, which says that, okay, depth is good. How do I do that? So how do you actually increase your understanding? First of all, increase your engagement with audiences. Alright, when I say increase your engagement with audiences, I'm talking about having a similar kind of audience. When you say similar kind of audience, suppose you do trainings for maybe a team building or customer service, and a lot of your programs are a mixed batch. So you'll have some frontline workers, you'll have some junior managers, you might have supervisory. What is happening out here? Your audience keeps shifting. When that happens, we have experienced that there is generally a challenge in understanding what are the challenges that that particular segment go through. So on the other hand, what we would suggest is have more exposure to frontline people of maybe different organizations or maybe even different industries. It gives you a perspective. It helps you to understand what are their challenges. It helps you to understand and create a reference point whenever you are actually using their example at another training. So you can always say that, okay, one of the trainings that I encountered with XYZ brand, this is where we use the same concept and it actually worked. It brought about these results. When you don't interact with the same audience in a repeated manner, it becomes a little difficult to understand their challenges. So what we suggest is keep having repeated trainings of the same segment. Once you spend considerable amount of time with the same segment, then move on to the higher levels. What happens here is you understand one segment through and through, and then you move to another segment. That will help you get depth. Also, it might help you if instead of moving or jumping multiple industries, you might cater to simply maybe one, two, or maximum three industries. Believe me, the world is big. And when we talk about having multiple industries and multiple exposure, the more industries you actually encounter, you realize that there are different challenges that they face. When you face a lot of challenges, you are basically scratching the surface. Who would really pay a lot of money for someone who's basically at the superficial level? Wouldn't your client expect someone who could solve their problems right from the root? It's no longer about just going through a PowerPoint. It is about internalizing that PowerPoint and explaining the concept from your heart. When I say from your heart, we're talking about your experiences, your understanding of the application, and how this has worked as part of your observations, as well as when you have prescribed this in the past, how has it worked for your participants. So that gives them also an understanding that, okay, this person really knows his or her stuff. It becomes easier to understand, it becomes easier to accept the kind of methodology that you would like to propose. So first, try and limit your industries to maybe 2 or 3 maximum, and in that, if you can reduce your topics. When I'm talking about reducing your industry and reducing your topics, what I want to emphasize out here is be known for these topics and industries. You might do n number of topics, but do not promote it that way. It makes a big difference in the understanding. If I say that I focus only on customer service or only on team building and maybe conflict management because they can be correlated, vis-a-vis me saying that I can do any topic, you just tell me which topic you want. It's not wrong. There are trainers who can do it. I'm not doubting the ability. I'm just talking about specialization and super specialization. It's like you going to a doctor for medical help. Are you going to go to a physician or a general physician, an MBBS, or you would have more confidence in going to a MD or maybe someone who is super specialized in a particular area? Think for yourself. Where would you want to go if you need expert advice? Right? One way of showing this kind of expertise of yours is simply by having your own slide deck. Now believe me, slide deck is something, not that I say that you must have, but when you have your own slide deck, the way in which you deliver your own program, which is created by you, makes a big impact. It's not about asking for a slide deck from colleagues. If maybe your colleagues might give you, even maybe your training vendor might provide you with the deck, but unless you internalize the concept, the learning, the application, the impact that you expect to deliver doesn't really come out. You might get a 4.8, you might get a 4.9, you might get a 5 on 5. Is the business really benefiting from your presence? You might be at level 1 of an evaluation post your program and you might get the best rating. Is the business seeing an impact in their audience? Are your participants talking about you even post your training program? Are they implementing what you have suggested? That's where the cream is. If you can deliver a program which is beyond a PowerPoint and which is purely experiential, and the participant has been able to apply it in life and see a success story, that's when you get repeat business. So your slide deck is one small little tool. Besides that, having your participant manual, that creates a very good impression. And you can only have a participant manual when you have internalized things. So you're also making it easy for your participants to make notes. You're giving them pointers that they can have as a job aid. So what are you trying to do? You're trying to take the learning beyond the classroom. All right. And in addition to that, now this is key. This is something that you really need to understand. Why is a facilitator manual essential? A facilitator manual basically helps you to replicate your business model. Okay, when I say business model, I'm talking about, imagine the situation that you are one person, all right, and you can be present only at one person at one time, all right. That's quite obvious. But what if you get a corporate or a business opportunity where they want you to do maybe 5 or 6 trainings or 10 trainings in one day? How do you manage that? Would you prefer to surrender that business and say, okay, it's not my cup of tea, I can't do it? Imagine if you had your slide deck, your participant manual, and a facilitator guide ready. All you have to do is, all right, I can do this. Just give me about 1 week's time. You can get your training team together and just replicate the program, because everything is crystal clear in front of them. The expectations, what are they supposed to get done? All I need to have is maybe around 3 or 4 days in hand. My participant manual is ready, the deck is ready, the facilitator guide is ready. A facilitator guide is basically a step-by-step instructional manual for any person to execute the training just like you would execute if you were doing it. And in order to avoid any change or personal touch of the trainer, and when I say personal touch, I'm talking about the knowledge level of the trainer. It is always, or we would always prefer that the trainer brings along his own personal touch. Now that's good, right? Because everyone has his or her own speciality. So why not utilize it? But when it comes to the knowledge level that you want imparted and the kind of activities that you want done, a facilitator guide helps the trainer whom you would like to engage understand the program through and through, so that there is no scope for ambiguity or there is no mix up or a mess up at a location. All right, that's one of the biggest causes for tension for a training vendor also, is that when you have trainings at multiple locations, are all trainers really executing it the way it was approved by HR? So whenever possible, if you want to scale up your business, you want to have multiple trainings being conducted at locations, your facilitator manual plays a very important role. Okay. Now, Another aspect that trainers generally inquire about is how do I actually make money in B2B? We've understood how it works, we've understood why there is a variance of pay, we've understood what are the essential elements to make sure that you do well in B2B. Let's also understand, of course, there are two questions out here that I wanted to introduce. One is, when do you prepare for all of this? I would say preparation is never ending. It's not in your hands. But the sooner you are able to deep dive into the topic and really understand the challenges and offer a solution, the higher and sooner the possibility of you making money. Now, let's come to the next question, and that is, how do I plan for all of this? Now, what is planning? There are two options as we see. One is you can say that yes, I am a specialist and I will wait for the right opportunity to come. Till then, I'm not going to do any kind of program which would actually bring my revenue status down. The point is, how would a corporate understand what is your level and what is the remuneration that will best suit you? So you need to create a plan. When you have a plan in place, all right, again, there are two options out here. Either you might say that, yes, I have everything in my mind. It's all chalked out really well. I know clearly what I want and what I need to do. But 90% of all the plans that happen in your mind also get eliminated in your mind. But on the other hand, if you can put your plan on paper, it has a 1.2 to 1.4 times higher chance of it getting executed, as a result of which you meeting your goal. Now, what do we need to plan about? First of all, one of the most basic questions about what do you need to plan about is, how much money do you really want to make? All right. We all have this very ambiguous way of understanding in terms of, I want to make a lot of money. What is a lot? The more you are clear about it, I'm sure most of the training community have heard the concept of SMART goals, haven't you? Now, SMART, one of the most essential things is clarity. The more you are clear about what you want executed, the higher the chances of it getting executed. So, how much money do you want to achieve? What is the time frame? How would I make that kind of money? Who is my target audience? Which are the brands I would like to work with? How am I going to connect with them? How am I going to engage with my audience on social media? When I'm talking about social media, LinkedIn is one of the most important tools or platforms. It's something that a trainer cannot simply avoid. A profile is a must, and also make sure that you have optimized your profile so that a person who comes to your profile knows exactly what you do and how you can help that person. Okay. Even if you search on Google, you'll get a whole lot of information about how you can optimize your profile. Please look at it. Please get it done. All right. As trainers, you can't afford missing out on LinkedIn if you are working in the corporate space and you really want to make your mark out there. All right. So your plan is crucial. It's critical. The moment you have it on paper, it makes a big difference. Not that I am a big advocate of starting from the first of the month or the day or the month, week or year, whatever. But coincidentally, we are in the month of December. 2020 is coming to an end. 21 is going to begin. For all those, if it affects you or it helps you psychologically, please go ahead and have your plan from the 1st of Jan. But if you are a go-getter and you really want to make sure that your program is ready on time, or forget on time, it's like you want to have it done today, start making a plan today. You need not have the most in-depth plan right at the beginning. You can start off with a very small superficial plan in terms of what should be my reach on LinkedIn, what should be my reach on Facebook, how many videos do I need to put up on social media to show my authority on the topic, whom do I need to connect with, who is my target audience, how can I create articles, posts which will help my audience benefit. So there are a lot of things that can be brought into your plan, but at least start off with the very basic elements of how much money you would like to earn, how or who is your target audience, which are the brands you would like to work with, your social media plan in terms of how are you going to show the world that this is your playground. If you feel you need help in planning yourself maybe for this month or maybe even for the years to come, do connect with Asif or me, Elroy Gonsalves, or Learners Conclave team. Anyone will do. You could connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. That's where you could actually connect with us. But of course, we would love to have you on LinkedIn and Facebook. Especially, you can join our pages or you could connect with us individually. Asif and I both have our numbers also on the platforms. It will be easier for you to connect. But more importantly, it's about you taking the firm decision that you would really like to make your, or maybe the next year as the year of transformation, and all that begins with a plan. So you need any help with creating a plan, do get in touch with us and we could help you with a template for designing your plan, your future. With this, I end the first episode of a Train and Grow Rich knowledge series. Looking forward to see you at the second episode of Train and Grow Rich, where we talk about the B2C segment, that's the business to consumer segment. See you soon.